Welcome to another edition of the talk show. I am Ebony, and today we have a very special guest with us. Stay tuned to listen to our discussion with John Ashford.
Welcome to the showcase, baby. The showcase. Righteous mind. It's your time to shine. The showcase. Righteous mind. It's your time to shine. The showcase.
Our newest friend to the show is a shoe designer, visual artist, illustrator, photographer, author, and teacher. Welcome our new friend, John Ashford.
How are you?
John, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Thank you for coming. Give us a little bit of a backstory as to who you are and how you got your start.
Ooh. You have enough time? No, I was kidding. Backstory. As far as shoemaking, but just
I want to know everything.
Not enough time for that. But here's what we're gonna do. I grew up in the DC area, and I always did art since I was 4, and I always liked to be creative. So that's how it started. Just as a kid, wanting to draw, and then when I was in high school, I'll skip to high school because I don't want to talk about middle school.
Right.
But when I was in high school, I always liked to draw like graffiti and like characters, like Donald Duck, but he had a gold chain.
Okay.
Superman, but he had like Timbs. You know, it was very like urban graffiti kind of stuff.
Right, something that you could relate to
Yeah.
more.
So then in college, I majored in commercial art and illustration,
Yes.
and I had to learn how to draw like realistic. So it was more than just cartoons.
So you were drawing like actual people, so you would have to sit down and like draw people, like, were those
Yeah,
classes
sometimes
where
they were
had
nude.
models?
Sometimes, like I remember a class I went in and this lady came in there and then she took off her clothes and I'm like, what is she doing?
Yeah.
And the guy was like, you have to draw her. I'm like, but I don't want to draw her. I want to draw her. But she wasn't the model. This is the thing that happened in school. So anyway, then I dealt with a lot of racism at my school. One time I had done a painting of, I don't know, I was doing a painting of black people. And my professor, who was white, was like, why do you draw black people all the time? I'm like, because I'm black.
Right.
What does that matter, the color?
Right.
So I was like, man, he's a racist. So I was like, angry, and I called my father, and he was like, there's a lot of racists. Well, you can't change the way they think. And he said, use your art and get back at it. So I picked, we had to do an assignment, where we had to read a magazine. I think Emerge magazine is out there.
Okay.
And so I did racism on college campuses. So the first picture was a kid, it was a classroom setting, and there was a black kid in the back. And then the teacher had his hand like really close to his face.
Okay.
And it said you, and the R was backwards, stupid. So when I put it up, everybody in the class, you know, you have to critique your art. They're like, what is this? You know, and I'm like, that's how I feel when I'm in your class. Because you think I'm dumb, because I'm not.
Right.
So then the other picture was this white guy with blonde hair and blue eyes, and he was giving a diploma to this blue guy, right? And the blue guy was smiling like Satchmo, and the white professor was giving the student the diploma, right? So, like if you were the guy giving the diploma and the kid's like this, smiling.
Yeah.
But meanwhile, behind the shoulders of the white guy was a Klansman's hood with a swastika on it. And so when I put it up, everybody got silent and my teacher's face got red.
Right.
And the reason why is because I made the Klansman / professor look like him, except I gave him blonde hair and blue eyes. So he's like, is that supposed to be me? I'm like, well, I didn't draw any black people on this one.
Right. You got what you wanted.
So I got him.
Yeah. You got what you wanted.
So I had to learn from that. And just like if you do art, you got to do art.
Right.
Don't worry about what other people say.
Right. It's about your
Because not
expression.
everybody's going to like it. But if you don't like it, what's the point?
Mhm.
It's like music. If you want to say something, say it. Otherwise, shut up.
Right.
So, then after college, I had an opportunity to work with Walt Disney. And I didn't want to do it because I felt like I didn't want to just be a yes man.
Mhm.
So I was telling my parents, I'm not going to take the job. And they're like, boy, you better take that job.
Mhm.
So I was like, I'm going to go to Hollywood and I'm going to get my stuff on television. And then I'm going to be so big that I'm going to just do this for a living. That's what I thought.
Okay.
So then I went, took a bus to Hollywood. Now, first of all my friends and family were like, take the job, take the job.
Right.
And I'm like, I'm grown, I'm a man. Do what I want.
Mm.
So I took the bus to the plane and went to Hollywood and got my stuff on the Martin show. So the last 3 years of Martin, some of the art was my art. And then when his show went off, Jamie Foxx's show came on, and the first 4 years was all of my art.
Nice.
And so then it went on from like the Parkers and a whole lot of like black sitcoms. So a lot of people have seen my art, they just don't know me. And I'm cool with that, that's okay.
Okay.
Shoes.
Yes. Let's go to shoes.
So I'm also a DJ. I've been DJing since I was 10. And when I say DJ, I don't mean hitting a CD
Like you
or
use
hitting
the
a
vinyl.
computer. I'm talking about scratching and mixing, and
Yeah.
some people don't know what I'm talking about. But so I was in this band out of DC, and we ended up getting signed in Amiens, which is near Paris.
Okay.
And so I'm touring with the band. So touring with the band, I ran into a shoe cobbler at one of the tours in Italy. And that's kind of how the shoe started.
So you had like an internship. He was like a veteran cobbler, or
No,
how
I was
that?
at a coffee shop,
Okay.
and I was showing this lady my calendar, because I used to do calendars through of my art through this company called Shades Calendar. That's a plug. And I was doing that, and she was looking at my art, and he was like kind of being nosy, looking over our shoulder. I'm like, can I help you?
Yeah.
So he kept coming back. I'm like, dude, what is the problem?
Yeah. Yeah.
So he's like, it's my destiny to teach you how to make shoes.
Hmm.
Like it's Star Wars. You know,
Mhm,
it's my
mhm.
And I said, man, you're drunk. You know, I didn't take him serious. So the lady was like, you have to get his contact. So I said, if something miraculous happens, I'll call the guy.
Okay.
So then that next morning, it was like 7 in the morning, the tour manager called and said, we have a layover in Italy.
Mm.
So I called the guy, went to his place, and was blown away.
Okay.
And I was like, I'm ready. He was like, I can't teach you this in a day. I'm like, what are you talking about?
Yeah. Yeah.
He said, it's going to take about 3 months. And I'm like, I live in Brooklyn.
Yeah. You had some decisions.
There's no
to
way
make.
to. So he said, how much is your rent? So now I'm like, this guy's probably a weirdo. Like, why is he asking all these questions? So I tell him everything. And he says, I'll see you soon. So I shake his hand. But in my head, I'm like, this guy's crazy. So I go back to Brooklyn when I was living in Fort Greene.
Okay.
A long time ago. And I'm telling my landlord the story. And he's laughing. And I'm like, what's funny? So he pulls out 2 envelopes. And one envelope was a round trip ticket to Italy. And one was 3 months of my rent.
Wow.
So I'm like, see you when I get back, though. So I went, and I ended up staying for like 5.5 months.
Nice.
And that's,
So before that, it was just like illustrations, just drawing. You didn't have an affinity for shoes yet.
nah, I wasn't thinking about no shoes.
Okay.
I mean, as a DJ, you look at women's feet when they're dancing, but I wasn't like, yeah, I'm gonna make shoes one day.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So let's go on from that. So, after working with this veteran cobbler, you ended up, you have some showrooms, and you ended up having some of your work actually put in like Harper's Bazaar and like.
Yeah, well, that's before Harper's Bazaar. When I got back to the U.S., I had some issues.
Okay.
Because I knew everybody in the hip-hop world, right? Because I was a DJ. And I'm talking about, like, back when Melissa Ford was in Black Men's Magazine. So all the, like, curvy model people were the people that I had connections with. So I'm making these boots, and they're taking these photos, but they're not really focusing on the boots.
Right.
They're focusing on their body,
Yeah.
So I'm thinking, I'm going to blow up, and people like, oh, yeah, we like your shoes, and I do all these shows, but then nobody was buying. So then there was a store called Petit Baton that used to be in the Village, they would have some of my stuff there, and that's kind of what helped me, because all the like Destiny's Child used to shop there, Monica, the singer, used to shop, like all those little like R&B people used to shop there.
Okay.
Little Kim, and that's kind of, people got to see my stuff.
Because it was in an outlet where they frequented.
Yeah. And I remember there was a model, I'm not going to mention her name because I'm not going to be disrespectful, but she was on TV and they're like, oh, where'd you get your shoes from? And she mentions the store. And that moment I was like, she should have mentioned my name.
Right.
So I just got to plug me. So that was when like MySpace. So I started the John Ashford Collection. Then I had some beef with Macy's that I don't want to talk about right now. That's why I'm looking into the camera.
Show.
And they wanted me to change my name, even though it was my name, and they took my name, but that's a whole other story. So I changed it to Authentic by John Ashford.
Yeah.
Because I'm an artist first. And one thing I'll say, when I was doing the shoes in Italy, every time he would teach me how to make something, I would paint or do art on it. And he said, that's why I have to teach you, because I still want you to do your art.
Right,
so every time I make, I fuse it together. And everything's one of a kind. So like there's not another pump like this, except this one. But I'm not making another pair like this.
Okay.
And so some people are like, how do you just have one pair? I'm like, the same way you eat one piece of cake.
Yeah.
That's it.
You want them to be.
You're not going to have that same piece of cake. You get another one.
Right.
Yeah.
And so all your shoes, I know that's one thing, like they're stylish, but they're also comfortable. You know, they're not like those shoes where, you know, you got like these 8-inch stilettos and like you just want to take them off because
Well,
like
let me say this. One, I've never worn women's shoes and don't ever plan to.
Really say.
But the models usually, or people that buy, they'll say, oh, these are comfortable. I'm shocked. And I'm like, well, most companies that make shoes, they don't care about comfort. They just care about how it looks.
Right.
I learned comfort first, crazy second.
Okay. So
that's kind of what I try to go by. And listen, if you have some jacked up feet, they're still going to hurt.
Yeah.
You know? So the biggest issue is most women don't know their foot size. Your shoe size is totally different than your foot size. If I make a pair of shoes, you have to get on the scale. Yeah, scale. I didn't need to know how much you weigh.
Right, your feet spread when.
Not even that. If this is made for 120 pounds and you're 180 pounds, this might not work. You ever go to the mall and you see the lady walking and your foot is leaning, and you're like, lean on me.
Yeah.
When they're walking? Yeah. Because they're not made for that weight.
Okay. Makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
So, tell us a little bit more.
Oh, the Harper's Bazaar?
Harper's Bazaar. Let's go back to
So that happened from Instagram. And let me tell you about Instagram quick. I had a niece, and she was like, Uncle John, you need to be on Instagram. And I'm like, Allie, I'm on Facebook. I've got my website. That's all I need.
Yeah.
I think Model Mayhem or something. And she said, you're right. That's only 2.5 million people that won't see your stuff. And when the way she put it, I was like, this girl's going to be a good lawyer. Yeah. That's what she does now, too. She's a lawyer. Okay. So I said, let's give it a shot. So I got on Instagram, and my first year I made $10,000 just on Instagram. But you don't see me eating pizza. You don't see me chilling at the club with people. You just see shoes. You see those models. You won't see me. I mean, I think I'm in one picture? One picture.
It's about your work.
Yeah. Because I don't want people going, hey, I make shoes. It's okay if they know, but I'm like, either like the shoes or don't.
Right. That's it.
Yeah.
Are your shoes just for women, or do you make?
No, I make men's, but I'm not even. That's a whole nother show. But I do make men's shoes. I just haven't done a big shoot with it. Actually, there's an actor. I'm trying to remember his name. I think his name is Leon.
Okay.
He was in the 5 Heartbeats.
I was about to say.
I can't think. But he was actually shot in my shoes like 2 years ago.
Okay.
My men's shoes. But I'm waiting until I put my men's line out before anybody can see the picture.
Okay. Do you plan to go like any younger, like for children at all, or are you just going to keep it at adults?
Hell no. Let me tell you something.
Trouble.
My focus is 15 to 25. Okay. Because most teenagers at 16, 17 wear high heels. Prom is crazy for me. Women that are like above 25, they want to look young anyway, so they'll wear the heels. But sometimes there'll be a 40-year-old woman that'll say, can you make some kitten heels? I'm like, yeah. You pay me, I'll make a kitten heel.
Right.
Why don't you make flats? That's how I learned making flats.
Right.
You know? But everybody wants what they want, and I'm like, as I get older, I'm like, this is what I have. If you don't like it, don't order.
Right.
You know? I get a lot of stylists that come to my showroom and they pull too, you know, for magazines, that's how. So real quick about Harper's Bazaar,
Yeah.
I was on Instagram, I threw up a picture, I was like, who should I tag? Vogue, Harper's Bazaar. And then the lady calls me, she's like, yeah, this is so-and-so from Harper's Bazaar.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah? What Harper's Bazaar?
Yeah.
You mean Harper's
Frankie?
Bazaar?
Yeah.
And she said, we're coming to New York. We love your brand. We never heard of you before. We need 8 pieces. And they were doing stuff with like Christian Dior and all these people. And I'm like, I will be there.
Yeah.
So I went. They shot it. They actually gave me copies of the magazine, which is great. Because a lot of times stylists don't give copies of the magazine. The stylist has to pay. And I'm like, why is the stylist paying or the model paying for the magazine
With their content.
if they're in it?
Yeah.
You should get a free one. But that's a whole nother, that's like a 10-hour show.
Yeah, we got a lot to talk about.
Yeah, but that's kind of how I got on Harper's Bazaar. So I can't remember the lady's name, but thank you for reading my tag.
That was a great opportunity.
So it shows you that Instagram tag people you want to see your work. And sometimes they'll ignore you and sometimes they won't.
Right. Do you have anything that you want to share with any of our friends at home?
Share,
Yeah.
like advice.
Like tell us, like, okay, if there's somebody who wants to get into the shoe industry or like creating shoes, what steps would you suggest that they take? How can they see your work? Where can they see
I'm going to be honest. Shoemaking is a lot. So if you don't have patience, don't do it. You know, I got into it kind of by accident, but I've always had a lot of patience. And I've always done multiple things at once. You know, I'm still a DJ. I teach at a middle school in the Bronx. I'm an art teacher there. I still produce. I have a mixtape that comes out every 4 weeks. I make shoes. I'm a photographer. I'm a stylist. I know how to wear many hats because I've perfected it, because I've been doing it for years.
Right.
You know, a lot of people start and then they quit. So if you quit, how are you ever going to be good at it?
Exactly.
You're only going to be good if you keep going. So my advice, if you're really into shoe, if you want to do shoemaking, one, get out of the U.S. Sorry. Because there's not a lot of good, that I know of, shoemaking places in the U.S.
Right.
You know, I was in Italy. I was in Naples.
Yeah.
You know, and my first show was in Paris. And I still miss that first show. You know, so I live in New York, but I try to get out of here as much as I can.
Yeah, you've traveled like all over
I've been
the
to
country.
38 countries.
Africa, different
Yeah,
continents.
I was in Egypt.
Wow, that's lovely.
Yeah, and that was like really powerful. I got to see the pyramids. Did you know like one brick from a pyramid is like a small car?
Wow, really?
Most people think it's like the ghetto bricks, but they're like huge bricks.
Wow.
So you're like, how did they get this here? You know? But yeah, I would just say, be serious about it. And a lot of people jump. Oh, I want to be this. No, I want to be that. I want to be this. No, I want to be that. You know?
Make up your mind, stick with it, study it.
Stick with it. Study and study. That's probably the best advice. Study. If you don't know how to study, you're not going to be good at anything. Doesn't matter. It's important to go to school, but even if you don't go to school, you have to study at some point something.
Yeah.
If you don't know math, you can't make shoes. If you're failing math, you're not going to be able to make a sturdy shoe. Unless you design a shoe and a company makes it for you. Because that's what most shoe designers, there's a difference between a shoe designer and a shoe cobbler.
Okay.
A shoe cobbler makes shoes. A shoe designer just designs. Here's a sketch. Can you make this at the factory?
Right.
I know how to cobble and I know how to design. You know.
Right. That's the best of both worlds, and that's amazing. Where can we find your work? Because I know we touched on it a little bit. There's a showroom. Where's the showroom?
Yes.
Is that like just for companies and just for like, you know, like designers, or can the everyday woman just go in?
Anybody can come, as long as you have a certain amount of money. No, just kidding. It's open to everyone, but it's like appointment. It's not like, yeah, I know it's 9 o'clock at night. You open, click, what happened? I hung up, because that's a dumb question. Yeah, there's certain times. I have a website, authenticbyjohnashford.com. My Instagram is John Ashford Shoes.
Okay.
I tell people all the time, if you want to see my stuff, pull stuff, buy stuff, call me. Put the number on the screen. You know, I'm very much in touch. You know, a lot of people say, you're hard to get in contact with. I am. But if you really want something, you'll call.
Right.
For example, Camille, can you flash it there?
Oh, come up here.
Come here, Camille. I'm putting you on the spot real quick. So, this, my friend Camille. Now, she looks like a model, and she is a model. And that's how I met her. Camille bought a pair of shoes for me at my showroom in Brooklyn.
Okay.
Right? I gave her a good deal because she's modeled for me for years. So tell her what happened the next week after you bought the shoes.
A lot of people were DMing me, trying to contact me, trying to figure out how can they get John's shoes, get John's information, how to contact John.
Because she wore them somewhere.
Right.
But tell her about the big TV thing that happened.
So I went to the Wendy Williams show, and I was picked to be eye candy of the day.
Okay.
And from there, Wendy would actually, you know, like, where you get certain items, and the main focus was the shoes, and that's what sold it for John.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
So she's on the show. Now, I was teaching that day, and I'm getting on the text, good job. Hey, congratulations. Hey, I see you on Wendy Williams. And I'm like, what? I'm teaching. I'm on Wendy Williams.
Yeah.
Then I get home, and I go to Facebook, and she's, like, talking about the shoes, and the designer's right here. Because she's originally from Petersburg, St. Petersburg, Florida. So on the show, she's, like, from St. Petersburg. She got these shoes.
This has been another edition of Showcase TV. I'm your gracious host, Ebony. Make sure you check us out on Instagram, Showcase TV, and our YouTube channel, The Showcase Talk Show. Until later, stay fabulous. Welcome back to another edition of Showcase TV. I'm your gracious host, Ebony, and today I have young Kurt with me. Young Kurt, welcome. Thank you so much for coming. How are you?
I'm good. My EP just dropped, so I want everybody to go buy it, download it on iTunes or wherever you listen to music at.
Okay. Now, what are they going to search? What's the name of your EP? What's it called?
My EP's called Curtis the Menace.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, Curtis the Menace. You could find it everywhere, literally, wherever you listen to music.
Okay. Do you have a YouTube channel? What's the YouTube where we can find it?
Well, my YouTube channel is called The Crimish Kid.
The what kid?
The Crimish Kid.
Okay. Okay. Now, how did we come up with that name?
I came up with that name because, I speak English and I speak a Creole,
Mm-hmm.
and I just mix it together sometimes, so I just made it like that, Curtis Kid.
Okay. Now, your EP is Curtis the Menace.
Mhm.
Now, how many songs do we have on there?
5
5 songs. Okay.
or 6.
Okay. And what's the theme? What's this EP about? What story are we telling?
Well, I'm trying to send a positive message.
Kalima K Nice. Welcome to the showcase, baby. Oh. The showcase. Righteous minds. It's your time to shine. The showcase. Righteous minds. It's your time to shine. The showcase.
Time to shine, make you go blind with glittering fame. I'm blowing up your radio stations, remember my name. I'm never